The reason why Hermes Agent is so good is because you can build repeatable workflows for things that you need in your life or for your business that can get done autonomously. And in this video, I'm gonna show the 6 best workflows that have helped me with my personal life and in my business. So I'm actually gonna have my Hermes Agent, which his name is Rook, explain a lot of these because he is built on the OS, which all these workflows work in. So we can see the answer that we got right away. So what Rook is trying to explain is our operator video workflow. It labels each video as OP vid, and it's a documented business operation turned into a YouTube episode. First, it always chooses a demanded idea. So it validates topics with vidIQ data, which is very important because making videos without the demand is going to be a bit tricky, especially when you're a smaller account like me. Verify the real workflow. So Rook is going to read the actual sources of our OS that we use to operate on actual use cases that I create the videos on. I'm never going to create a video on something that I haven't already built and tested. So it's important that it's reading what's already existing in our OS to then actually put the output in the video correctly. 3, it builds the filming spine. So it does Excalidraw. If it needs anything else, if we're going into my Obsidian and we need to actually go into the folders, it helps give me a brief essentially regarding this. Number 4, demonstrate through conversation. So using Rook, show proof, not file clutter. So each section may show one strong output, receipt, dashboard, etc. And then it does the package after filming. So once we finalize the title, the thumbnail, the description, then I actually have it output the video for me. So it's connected to my YouTube through API. So it actually will go and post it on Twitter and on YouTube based on everything that we already agreed upon. We showcased finished systems, not staged AI demos. Every episode reveals the trigger, work performed, approval gate, output, receipt, and then viewers leave with a reusable prompt, checklist, or template. The channel builds around roughly 70% of workflow showcases and 30% practical Hermes education. And the core advantage are other AI channels explain what agents could do. We show what an operator has actually built, how it behaves, and where the human stays in control. This content engine is a phenomenal workflow because you can plug it into every single asset of how you do things. And I think it could be really useful because content is king. Next is the SEO Intel workflow. This is a relatively newer one that we created, but man, is it a big deal. We live in a world where SEO is absolutely king. And for us, since we don't spend a lot of money on paid search to get clients here on our website, we rely heavily on SEO getting us organic traffic and making this website constantly SEO optimized, adding content that's necessary for blogs or for use case pages is how we're going to get traffic to this website, which will then translate to leads. So this workflow is very important. And here's what Rook says about it. It schedules checks, pulls data from Google Search Console, GA4, Bing, and the keyword sheet, which I built out to see what people search, what page ranks, and whether traffic produces leads. It produces a monthly short list of up to 5 evidence-backed SEO opportunities, such as improving a page, targeting a stronger keyword, or fixing indexing. And what happens next? Noah and Brent, my co-founder, choose the priority. Any website changes is built through the Common House site pull request, reviewed and approved before going live. What it means by that is our Common House website, we actually have in a separate repo, which is then pushed and pulled through GitHub correctly. So whenever we're making changes to the website, it's all done through a Hermes Agent, which is nice. It closes the loop with a weekly health check monitoring and indexing, and a 6-week check measures whether approved changes improve rankings, traffic, or leads, which is really what an SEO agency would be doing for you anyways. When you make changes on paper, it probably sounds perfect to start, but then when you get into it, you need to really make sure it's actually making a dent, and checking up on it 6 weeks later is a perfect timeline to see if it needs to be approved upon or we need to totally pivot and go to a different direction. Web leads is a very useful use case that I see a lot of people probably needing, especially businesses. So on our website, obviously we're B2B and we're lead gen. So when people submit a leads, which is right here in our type form, we want to make sure this is kind of being automated. And there's a couple ways you could do it, and every business is going to be a different use case, but I'm going to show what's different about ours and kind of how it works. A visitor is going to come to our website. They're going to complete the website form. They're going to fill it out with their name, their email, etc., as I just showed. Every hour, Rook imports new submissions into our Google Sheets CRM, because I don't need a fancy CRM like HubSpot or Salesforce that costs a lot of money. I need something that is easy access for my AI agents to utilize, and it's going to be doing all the organizing. It's the one that's going to be reading all the CRM data. Once it logs it, a Discord alert is going to tell us a new lead arrived, and I have it designated to a cron output on a specific channel. And then Brent or myself basically reviews it and approves any reply, calendar invite, or sales follow-up. So just to give an example, I wanted to show exactly how it will give the cron output for real cases without showing people that actually reach out to our website. So it's going to mimic a fake customer, but how it would actually hit our Discord channel that we talked about. It would basically come in and say new Common House form submission imported 1. It's going to show everything that they filled out on the form, and then it always gives us a drafted reply. Now, the beauty of AI agents is connecting them to separate tools. So we referenced that it uses the Google Sheets CRM. It also references my email. So it gives a suggested reply right here, and it always gives me an approve, edit, or skip. I simply just reply back with whatever I want. Approve it, simple, and it sends the email out for me, or if I make some edits, or we just skip it entirely. This kind of thing right here, yes, is simple, but it saves me so much time as a business owner because I can just see all of the leads that's coming with the replies already ready to go, and I'm just checking them off as we go. This is a very useful workflow, and it's very simple to make, to be honest. Okay, this workflow is definitely more unique, and it kind of goes into the back end of what's going on with an OS. Now, granted, if you're watching this video and you've made it this far, you should know a little bit of how an agent harness needs to be strapped to a knowledge base, an OS, a brain. You're going to hear the terminology used often. Basically, if I'm looking into my OS right now, I always structure it by these basic high-level folders. And I'm not going to get into the specifics of this. This is a very deep dive that needs another video. But keeping everything under all of these organized is going to be extremely important. If you look, I have things under all of them. I think in total, we have just close to 1,000 markdown files inside of all of these folders. And it's very important to understand that the more this builds, the more confusing it can be to agents if it's not organized. And that's where this source map comes into play. And Rook explains it well, because what this workflow does is something that you don't visually see all the time, but it's keeping things in check in the back end. And a lot of this video right here, I'm asking Rook to go view certain workflows and explain it, right? If we didn't have a source map of where to lead Rook based on common language I am using, it might go read, when I asked it about the SEO workflow, it might go read the lead gen workflow by accident. And it sounds silly, but it is the real deal if it's not used correctly in a source map. So what starts is any question that needs Common House truth, like what is our approved website inquiry process, kind of example I just gave. How it finds information, Rook will always start with the source map, which is something I have here under my sources. So in this source map, it always needs to come here and read it when it's searching for things, and everything is indexed correctly so it knows where to go, branches it. And I'm not going to read into this because I don't want to show too much of what's going on behind the scenes for us. Long story short, this helps guide it to where it needs to be. And what it does is it returns a plain English answer grounded in the open file plus the real source path so you can verify it. If the source ever disagrees, Rook will stop, show both the sources to me, and then make no silent choice or business change. Basically, what it means by that is it will ask me like, hey, I have noticed 2 of these things based on your request. Do they line up? So in a way, it catches itself and it fixes things as it goes. And just to tie into it, I have a cron set up at 3:20 a.m. where it basically files the indexing every single night into GitHub. So it's constantly being updated and saved. Once again, this is a much more complex workflow, but long story short, what you're getting from this, as you're going to build out your OS to use Hermes, try and develop something like this, and it will guide you along the way. If you just explain it, you can even export this video into a TXT and give it into your agent, and it will know for this section what I'm talking about and how it can create something similar for your OS. So the OS hygiene is very important because it ties into the source map. Long story short, because we have a lot of files like we just talked about, you need to make sure it's constantly updating and making sure things are accurate. For example, we just changed our pricing model for Common House, and we had a pricing model sheet that was saved inside of our sales folder, and we then made a new pricing model sheet. Now, these models are getting smart enough now where they know to automatically go delete the old one. But let's just say, for example, it didn't delete the old one, so now it has two pricing models inside of it. You could see how that's a problem. Future agents, when they need to go pull that information, they might pull the old one by accident, or they might just pull both and they don't know what to do. Don't ever let your agent be in a tough decision where it doesn't know what to do. You want to completely guardrail it. And this OS Hygiene does that for us. In theory, it's supposed to catch these things that accidentally get done. And I have it set to a daily level, a weekly level, and a monthly level. And I'll have Rook break down exactly how those three work and how they're different from each other. So it actually gave me a pretty lengthy response. I'm not going to go through all this, but essentially here's the crons that I talked about. It's a big deal. We have the foundation guard, which is actually something we install into all of our clients for their Hermes Agent setup. But this is a daily 7 a.m. run. It's basically just mechanical integrity. So it's making high level approaches to see and make sure based on the order that it knows that it's going to be in place for the structure of the files. Semantic hygiene is the Wednesday one. So this is the weekly. It's a little bit basically like a level 2. It's more in depth, finding contradictions. I have a Friday roll up, which rolls up all of these files weekly. So because I have daily things that hit on multiple workflows, those files are saved every day. You can imagine this is going to build up over time. So how we prevent that is using this Friday roll up. It will roll up 7 files into one and show like the week breakdown. Very useful and big deal. Skill hygiene, what it does is it's constantly checking my skills because every 14 days I'm adding new skills. Sometimes they contradict each other. That's a big problem. And you want to make sure you're keeping that in check. And then the monthly one, which is every 8 a.m. This is a deep Claude review, because right now I believe Claude's the best repo worker, especially with Fable 5. That could change, but I have a deep Claude review of the entire OS. It basically reads every files. It's going to burn a ton of credits. That's why I only do it monthly, but it's really good to do this to keep everything in check. And then lastly, the last workflow that's very simple, maybe the most simple one out of all, but the most important. If you have multiple people working inside of your Hermes agent, like my co-founder and I, for example, or we're using multiple different devices from my laptop to my desktop to my phone, you need to make sure that you are backing up to GitHub on a daily level. So I have it hit in the middle of the night every single time where it backs up and it merges anything that was outstanding. It proposes to me if there's like a dirty tree, for example, but always making sure it's backed up. And in fact, every time I'm launching a cron, the cron needs to check and make sure we're not behind on a Git of any sort. That way, if Brent, my co-founder, is working on things and I'm working things at the same time, we're both working on the most up-to-date OS, because what I could be working could be affecting him and vice versa. I hope this video kind of helps some use cases of how to use Hermes. Hermes Agent is a spectacular, revolutionary invention, if you will, because of the way you can utilize it. But I understand that it can be completely daunting and it could be overwhelming to a lot of people. So I hope these simple workflows really help get your ideas going, because I know when I first started out with Hermes, I was a little, where do I begin? But the best thing is to get in with an idea of a workflow. You're going to have it automate for you and start building. Let it build itself. That's one of the best advice I can give to anybody, because you will not only learn how to let it fix itself and utilize it, but also you will learn how to just build in general with an agent harness. And then you can utilize those skills for anything else you're using for your workflows or for your OS, and how you want to move forward to hopefully make your life more efficient for business or personal reasons. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something from it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe. I'm always trying to give actual practical use cases with agent harnesses based on what I've developed. I am trying my best to not make videos that are just showing the possibilities. I want to actually show videos of workflows or things we've done in our own, so it's actual proof. And if you have questions or comments about anything, please leave them below in the video. That kind of engagement not only helps, but also it helps me get very good topic ideas, and I'm always there answering people and helping where needed. So thanks for watching this video.